Good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. I am Rason Pandaran and our topic is all about authentic assessment. So before we proceed, let us first define what is authentic assessment. So what is authentic assessment? So authentic assessment, basically it is a way of testing students that is real, not just asking them to memorize facts and split them back to the multiple choice test. Instead, it makes them use what they have learned in a situation that already really matters. Here are the key features of authentic assessment. We have real-world relevance, higher order thinking, students' choice and voice, process and product focus, and lastly is clear criteria. Real-world relevance, this means that the task is something students might actually do in everyday life. So next is higher order thinking. So in higher order thinking, this isn't just memorizing, it's using skills like analyzing, evaluating, or creating. The third features of authentic assessment is students' choice and voice. So in students' choice and voice, students get a say in what or how they do the task. Like for example, if the topic is environmental issue, they could choose to make a video presentation or plastic waste project or activity, writing a poem about deforestation. Next is process and product focus. So in process and product focus, this is how things are done and evaluate how the strategies, things, and steps the students will take or they made. It is also reflect what the students have learned while they are working the task. The last features of authentic assessment is clear criteria. So in clear criteria, the students will know exactly what expected to them from the start. So like for example, no sa rubrics na sinasabi 5 points for clear agreements, 3 points for real-world examples, and in this way, there's no confusion about how the students will be graded and they can work toward a specific goal. Now let us talk about the benefits of authentic assessment. We have 5 benefits here. First is increased engagement. Second is develop practical skills, provide accurate feedback, reduces test anxiety, and lastly is foster creativity. The first benefit of authentic assessment is increased engagement. So authentic assessment seeks to evaluate students' understandings and skill in the real-world situation. So dito, kapag na-involve ang students in the real-world scenario, they will become interested and motivated sa learning nila. The next benefits of authentic assessment is develop practical skills. So once the students is involved in authentic assessment, they will develop their skills and use it in real life. So example of skills they will develop are budgeting, public speaking, problem solving, or even writing professional emails. So hindi lang sila nag-aaral for the grade, instead, they will use these skills in college, or job, or even sa everyday life. Next is provide accurate feedback. Authentic assessment provide accurate feedback since the teacher look at both on the process and the product of the students. They can give specific comments about the project or the task the students are working on. So, the students will actually know kung ano ang dapat nilang i-improve. Authentic assessment can reduce test anxiety. So, diba sa traditional approach, the test can be scary. But in authentic assessment, it is usually spread out over time and it's all about what students can do. Hindi lang puro memorize. So, walang cramming night before the test. The last benefits of authentic assessment is foster creativity. So when the students get to choose on how to show what they have learned, they can let their imagination to shine. Maybe gagawa sila ng comic strip, build a model, or even write a song to explain a topic. So in that way, the students will become creative and unique. And that's all for my part. Thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. I am Casey Lane D. Ostero, and thank you so much to Miss Pandalan for walking us through what authentic assessment is, its key features, and all the great benefits it brings to learning. So now that we know why it's worth doing, you might be wondering, how do we actually put this into practice in the classroom? And what do we do when things get tricky along the way? That's exactly what I'll be covering today. The core implementation strategies that make authentic assessment work, plus the common challenges we might face and the simple solution to overcome them. So now, let's dive right into the implementation strategies that make all this possible. Implementation strategies. Okay, so we know what authentic assessment is and why it's good, but how do teachers actually make it work in class? So here are the 5 key strategies. First is align with learning objectives. So this just means the assessment has to match what we're supposed to learn. Like if the goal is to understand how to analyze a story's theme, the task can be just drawing a picture of the character. It has to ask us to explain the theme using evidence from the text. So in that way, we're actually hitting the learning target. So next is design clear rubrics. So we talked about clear criteria earlier. A rubric is just a simple chart that lays out exactly what expected, like 4 points for strong evidence, 3 points for a clear explanation, something like that. So there's teachers shares this before we start, diba? So we know exactly how we'll be graded na wala nang surprises. So third is provide scaffolding. So this is like giving us a support system as we work. So maybe the teachers starts with a quick mini lesson, give us a template to follow, or checks in with us halfway through. For example, if we're writing a letter to a leader, they might give us a guide for how to structure it so we don't feel lost. Then, incorporate collaboration. So, a lot of real-world tasks require working with others. So, authentic assessment can too. So, like if we're planning a community event, we can work in groups to split up tasks. One person does research, another plans the schedule. It teaches us teamwork and make us work more manageable. So finally is the reflect on the process. So after we finish the task, we take time to think about what went well, what was hard, and what we'd do differently next time. So maybe we write a short reflection like I struggled with budgeting but I learned to ask for help, like that. So this help us grow as learners, not just get a grade. Let's proceed to the challenges and solutions. So authentic assessment isn't perfect. It comes with some challenges, but the good news is there are simple solutions for each one. So let's go through them. First challenge, time consuming to design and grade. So teachers have to create unique tasks and grading them, like reading long projects or watching videos. That takes away longer than marking a multiple choice test. Solution, reuse or adapt existing tasks and use peer assessment to share the workload. So here, no need to make something new every time. Also, let students grade each other's work sa peer assessment. So this not only lightens the teacher's load, but also help us learn from each other. Second challenge is subjectivity in grading. So since there's no one right answer, so it might feel like grades are based on what the teacher thinks is good, not on rules. So solution, use rubrics and calibrate grading with other teachers. So they spell out exactly what counts. So teacher can also work with other teachers to make sure their grading is consistent. That's called calibrating. So everyone's on the same page. So third challenge is resource constraints. So sometimes we don't have fancy materials or tools for projects. So solution, design tasks that use readily available materials or digital tools like Google Workspace, Canva. So example like paper, pens, or things around the house. Or use free digital tools like Google Workspace or Canva. Most of us can access those on our phones or school computers. Fourth challenges is student resistance. So let's admit it. Some of us might not want to do a big project, diba? When we're used to tests. So we might think it's too hard or a waste of time. So solution, explain the purpose of the task, provide choice, and share examples of successful work. So teachers should explain why we're doing the task, how it will help us in the real life. They should also give us choices and show us example of great work from past students that make us feel more doable and exciting. Conclusion, authentic assessment is a powerful tool that connects classroom learning to real life, fostering critical skills and engagement. So authentic assessment isn't just another way to grade us. So it's a powerful tool that bridges what we learn in the classroom and what we'll need in the real world. So it doesn't just test our memory, it helps us build critical thinking, practical skills, and a real love for learning. So, and by making tasks relevant and giving us a voice, it keeps us engaged in what we're doing. So at the end of the day, it's about preparing us not just for a test, but for life itself. So that's all for our topic. Thank you for watching.